So hi, hello and welcome. Microbehunter here. Here on the table I've got 5 different microscopes, and today in this video I would like to give you an overview of how those microscopes are similar and how they're different from each other. Now, while all of those microscopes are from the brand Euromax, many of the things that I have to say today actually can also apply to other brands as well. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about the individual microscope models that I have here, then I would like to ask you please go into the description below, because I made separate review videos of those microscopes where I'm really going a little bit into more detail and more depth. What I will do first is I will first show you how those microscopes are similar to each other, and then of course also how they're different from each other. And I hope that this kind of gives you a good basis in making a good purchasing decision if you're shopping for microscopes. I think we're just gonna get started now.
So before we actually have a more detailed look at the microscopes, let's have a look at the models. This one is known as the Nexus Zoom. It's called like this because it does have a continuous zoom. By turning the knob here, it goes all the way from 6.5 magnification all the way to 55 times. This is the Bio Blue, which is an educational microscope. We're using it in school because it's portable, obviously, and it can also be operated with batteries, because in many schools there is no power supply on every table. Of course, you can also use it with a power supply. There's no question about that. But battery operation does give a little bit more flexibility. The B-scope here is already a little bit larger, so it's also a little bit more convenient and ergonomic to use. You can even turn it up yet higher if you want to increase the height a little bit. The Eyescope is yet a bit larger. Look, it has this nice solid phototube here, so you can also connect quite heavy cameras here. Also, the eyepieces is already significantly larger than, for example, the one of the Bio Blue. And here, going towards research, this is the Delphi X. It's a research grade microscope. The objectives are gigantic, and it is configurable. So this means that you can actually upgrade it to fluorescent microscopy, DIC microscopy, phase contrast. There are different ways how you can adapt the microscope to your own research needs. Now, one microscope here is the odd one out. Can you find it? Of course, it's this one here on the left. This is a so-called a stereo microscope. The other microscopes here on the right, the 4, are so-called compound microscopes, and they are used to observe completely different objects. So for stereo microscopes, you can put the object that you would like to observe directly even on the stage here, and then you're able to get a stereoscopic view because both of these eyepieces provide a different image. I'm not going to talk so much about the stereo microscope here because it's a little bit a separate category. I did make, of course, a review video of this microscope as well. Please do check the description for the link. And for the remainder of the video will focus on those 4 microscopes over here. I arranged them according to size, and even though they might look quite different from the outside, there are a couple of similarities and similar features that they all share. And of course, there are a couple of important differences as well. Because they are compound microscopes, they have a coarse and a fine focus knob. So the focus knobs are located here, and they raise and lower the stage where you can put the specimen, and the coarse focus knob moves the stage up and down very quickly, and the fine focus knob, you are almost not able to see the movement of the stage because it moves very little in very little steps. And you can see that over here, all of those compound microscopes have a coarse and a fine focus, and they're of course on the left and on the right side. So it does not really matter if you're right or left-handed. Also over here, right and left, and sometimes the fine focus, like for example over here, it looks the same as on the other side, but sometimes depending on the design, sometimes it looks also a little bit different. And then you can put one of the fingers, your index finger for example, into one of those grooves, and then you're also able to focus this way. So even though the size and the design of those focus knobs differs, the functionality is the same. Stereo microscopes, in contrast, they only have one focus knob. Many compound microscopes also have a so-called a mechanical stage, and there are two knobs that you can turn here, and you can see that this will move the slide holder and the stage, and this allows you to position the slide in a very precise manner. And you can see that here it's located on the right side, over here as well. You see that the principle is always the same here as well. And here this research microscope has pretty large knobs that are quite easy to turn, and you can also adjust them. So you see that there are certain features that all microscopes have in common. Stereo microscopes, in contrast, never have a mechanical stage, because you're able to put the object directly here, and you just move it around with your fingers, because you do not need to position it that precisely, because the magnification of stereo microscopes is not as large. Compound microscopes also have a light intensity control. Here, for example, this is a knob that you can turn, but depending on the design of the microscope, it can be a little bit different. For example, here you've got a little disc, a wheel that you can spin over here as well. And here it looks again a little bit different. In every case, you're able to regulate the intensity of the light, but the main switch is in every case always on the back of the microscope. In stereo microscopes, you're also able to control the light intensity. There are two knobs here. One controls the light coming from the top. There's a little lamp here on the top, and the other one from the bottom, because in this case I also have an LED located here. Right now this one is not transparent, but it's possible to have also here a glass plate which allows light to come in from the bottom. Now, compound microscopes have so-called objectives located on a so-called revolving nose piece, and those objectives they produce an image, and this image is then magnified by the eyepiece. And the objectives of a stereo microscope, there are two objectives which you cannot see now because they're hidden inside. But in compound microscopes, you've got one objective, and then the light is split between the two eyepieces, and therefore both the left and the right eyepiece, if your microscope has two eyepieces, they will be the same. And this means that you do not get a stereoscopic view, of course. It's also possible that you only have one eyepiece here. But in other words, the principle, however, is in all of those compound microscopes is pretty much the same. So beneath the stage of a compound microscope, you have the so-called the condenser. This is the condenser here. You see that there is an optical system, a lens, and the job of the condenser is to focus the light from the lamp on the specimen. And if your microscope has a condenser, then there's also a so-called a condenser aperture diaphragm. So you see, by moving the lever left or right, you're not able to see it now because I'm not able to look into it, but you're able to open and close a diaphragm, and this is important for controlling contrast and depth of field. And here again we have a lever, and in some compound microscopes there's a little ring that you can turn, but again here the principle is the same. You're opening and closing the condenser this way. Another similarity that all of those microscopes share is that they are powered by an LED, by a LED. However, the intensity is different. So for example, this microscope here, the Delphi X, has a very powerful LED. It's extremely bright because you need that light if you do, for example, polarization work, or if you need to take pictures which are with a very short exposure time. And also the stereo microscope here is powered by LEDs. It's possible also to get microscopes with halogen lamps, but in recent years more and more microscope manufacturers started to move over to LEDs, also because the electricity consumption is lower, and also because the lamp is more temperature stable. This means that when you turn up or turn down the light intensity, it does not change the color temperature. And this is actually an advantage for photography if you're using LEDs. So now let's talk a little bit about the magnification of the compound microscopes here. Yeah, the maximum magnification that we can get is 1,000 times. So over here is a 100 times oil immersion objective, and multiply that by the 10 times eyepiece, you get a maximum magnification of 1,000 times. Here as well, here as well. And here the maximum magnification is 400 times, but I do have the possibility to connect an additional objective here. The top magnification, the maximum magnification for all of those here is the same. This might be a little bit surprising because many people think that more expensive microscopes are able to magnify more. This is not the case. We already have reached the limit of magnification with 1,000 times. So that's the maximum that we can go. And even educational microscopes like this one here is able to magnify to the theoretically maximum level. So how are those microscopes then different? Well, it is the number of objectives that you can attach that makes a difference. So for example, here you can attach 1, 2, 3, and then there is the possibility to attach a fourth objective. Over here we can connect 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, here is again a spare one that we can connect. This one over here can connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. Okay, and this one, the large research microscope, allows you to connect 6 objectives, and currently 5 are connected, and there is again a spare one over here. So what is the difference now? Well, even though all of them are able to magnify from 40 to 1,000 times, I also have intermediate magnifications here. For example, here we've got a 20 times objective, which the others do not have. And I have the space even to connect a 60 times objective. Or I'm able to connect other types of objectives, like, for example, phase contrast objectives, which are a little bit more specific, which is not possible, for example, with with the smaller microscopes over here. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the differences between the compound microscopes, and already the most evident difference is the size, and size alone can already be an advantage, even though you're able to see pretty much the same things with those large microscopes as with the smaller ones, of course with a better image quality, no question about that. But simply for it, because it's bigger, it is more convenient to use, especially if you're sitting many hours behind a microscope. Some people who are doing this as a job, maybe they have to sit 8 hours or so behind a microscope every day. And then, of course, you would like to have a microscope that's much more ergonomical to look through. And large microscopes, therefore, are simply more convenient. The small microscope over here is designed to be small because it has to be portable, because it's an educational microscope to be used in schools. And children, of course, they should not be able to, they cannot carry heavy microscopes. And you also might not have the space to set up larger microscopes. So it's important that these microscopes here can be easily carried. That's why they're, for example, here on the back side here, you can also hold it. There's a little bit like a handle. So that means it's essentially designed for classroom use, while those larger microscopes here are more designed for laboratory use. And if you have a working place where you do not move the microscope around, those microscopes here in the middle are essentially for routine laboratory use, can also be used for hobby use or amateur use. And the stereo microscope here, again, is a little bit of a different kind of microscope. This one here is already a little bit of a somewhat of a better model. It is, also not very portable anymore because it is also quite large. But I would say that generally larger microscopes are much more convenient and I would say, comfortable to use. So now let's have a look at the eyepieces. Here, of course, we have 2 eyepieces, 2, 2, 1, and again, 2 eyepieces here. All of the eyepieces magnify the same amount, 10 times, but there is an important difference. This eyepiece here is, as you can see, has a much smaller diameter than the other ones here on the right side. And this means that those larger eyepieces, even though they magnify the same, they give you a much wider field of view. And this means that when you look through the microscope, the circle that you see with the image is actually much larger with those eyepieces compared to the one over here. So this is an important difference. Also, of course, here binocular means that you can look through the microscope with 2 eyes. As I mentioned, you do not get a stereoscopic view, but still it's more convenient to use. And here, also 2 eyepieces, But here, because each eye receives a different image, you actually get a stereoscopic view. So some people confuse those stereo microscopes with binocular microscopes, but essentially, the purposes of those microscopes is different. Cost, of course, is another important difference. I think it goes without saying that this educational microscope is much cheaper than the research microscope here on the right side. Educational microscopes also have much cheaper objectives. So that's also important, because when, for example, students damage some of the objectives here, then it's not too expensive to exchange them. Now, of course, the quality of those low-cost objectives is lower than those planned semi-apochromatic objectives. These are really good ones. But for educational use, you do not need a better quality, because the students do not even see a difference. You don't notice a difference. Therefore, what is important is availability and low cost. And over here, because people who are using those research microscopes are already more experienced, therefore, of course, you can use much better objectives as well. The objectives here in the of the center two microscopes are somewhere in between. They are basically also very high quality objectives in the sense, what you can do here is you can also exchange them with other types of objectives as you need. Upgradeability is another important factor here. Those research microscopes are very upgradable. It's not only that you're able to get different types of objectives, but for example, you can also change the position, or you can get a stage with the mechanical stage located on the left side for left-handed people. So there are different ways how you can adapt this microscope to your specific needs. It can also be upgraded to DIC microscopy. This is a differential interference contrast. You can also of course, convert it to fluorescence microscopy and to phase contrast. So there are a lot of ways how this microscope can be configured. This is, of course, not needed or not even possible with the educational microscopes, where upgradability is not such an issue here. But there is a possibility to attach down here so-called Barlow lenses, and here I included also an adapter for a ring light. So there are also some possibilities to fine-tune those stereo microscopes as well. And last but not least, here this is a so-called a trinocular head. You can connect a camera here, and of course here this is not possible, but still you are able to connect the camera by using a mobile phone adapter, for example, and then you're able to take a picture directly through the eyepieces. For example, this here can also be turned, especially if there are multiple students using the same microscope. So students sitting on the left and on the right, then it's easily, you can easily swing the head around so that the different students are able to look at it. There's also some other nice features that this one has. Look at this. You're able to flip it around, and then it's a little bit higher again, so you can sit more upright.
Well, before I end the video, a general advice now. What is the best microscope now? Well, the answer is simple. The best microscope is the microscope that you will end up using the most. And I think with that in mind, do take your time when choosing a microscope. And I recommend that you maybe start small first, and then as you outgrow your microscope, that you then start to upgrade and move up to the next model. Do not spend too much money at the beginning, especially if you don't know where your preferences are, and if you do not know yet which direction you want to take the hobby. Happy microbe hunting, everyone. See you around next time. Bye bye.